because I had grown up in a video store. I knew I wanted to like do movies or something. I didn't even know what that meant. Yeah. But that was
we
the
still
moment.
don't doing movies. Yeah, still not really. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No,
now.
it doesn't. But that was the moment that it like kind of crystallized into comedy specifically.
That special is one of those. Richard Pryor's Live on the Sunset Strip, the Long Beach special, I think is better. Carlin's some of Carlin's stuff, maybe 4 or 5 before he got really crusty. When he started really nailing it. That special is amongst those legendary specials.
Yeah, for sure.
And a couple of Cosby's. I mean, himself before we knew Cosby wasn't, because Cosby was my hero. And then like, I was like, fuck, really, dude? Like of all, it's not even like if another comic came out and was like sexually assaulted, it was some dark ass comic that we know, you'd be like, well, of course.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was part of, it's that legendary thing that Norm Macdonald said about it. But it is true that the hypocrisy made it worse.
Yes.
But, yes, it's not the worst part.
Yeah.
The rape was the worst part.
Yeah, there is a worse part.
But it's supercharged.
But it still made it worse, for sure. Yeah. But that
special's legendary. And to the point where as a comic, I was already doing comedy at that time because I'm much more ancient than you. And I remember watching it and at the end realizing that I have to rewrite everything I've ever done.
I bet, yeah.
It was one of those, it's very, Werewolves and Lollipops by Patton does the same thing.
It's so good.
Where I'm like,
Jim Jeffries too. Some of the stuff he writes. I mean, the
that
bit about his friend
did.
with MS, where they take him to the whorehouse.
Yeah.
The gun bit. It's just like every word is right.
Yeah, 100%. And I also, I was like briefly after the Chris Rock thing in '98. That's also when Chappelle rose to prominence when I was in like high school with his 2 specials and the sketch show and everything. Yep. So he was huge also. But I was really, really into Eddie Izzard at that time.
Yeah,
too.
very smart.
Dressed to Kill.
Yes, that was
one of my absolute
special.
favorites. So yeah, and then even though I don't really do anything remotely like what he did, but Mitch Hedberg was one of my favorites too.
You know who else really just blew me away, and like we've lost Geraldo. Man, I listened to Geraldo. To this day I listen to Geraldo. I'm like, again, some of these great comics, and people always go, how can you pump all these other guys up? Because it's obvious how talented they are. Geraldo's another guy that makes me stop and go, okay, you got to write this bit better. Because he, I spent a lot of time trying to get it right. That's why I loved what you put up on to, because it was so concise and well written that I just thought, oh man, we got to have this guy on.
Mitch Hedberg was in his own room, right?
Sure.
Like nobody's done it. Nobody probably could really do that again. And it was cool because when he started performing, like when I would see him live, it's like the first few jokes. People would laugh, but by the 5th joke, the whole audience is kind of speaking a different language all of a sudden. He changed the room. It was like such an amazing thing to watch him perform.
Yeah, I remember hearing that he had died. I was in a fencing class. It was an elective. I needed an elective, and it seemed like the easiest thing to do.
I can stabbing people for points.
For sure. Stabbing people for points.
Riflery and fencing.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with him. That's
right.
all we're saying.
I'm so easy to be fucked with. I've never realized how misleading those 2 things are. I'm not proficient with either of those things, really. But anyway, and it got like announced or whatever, and I was super bummed out about that, But I got into, and I still am in, I love movies and TV. I'm still super into all that shit. I've tried and failed multiple times with my own pilots. Like I've sold like 5, none of which even got
That's great, man.
made.
That's my limit to 5. We made 2 of them. One, Titus got made, and then we made Special Unit, which ended up making into a movie.
So I'm still trying to do that whole thing also. But,
just know that you can. People always ask me about show business. How do you make it in show business? I'm coming up on. I'll be 40 years in show business in 23, and I said you keep banging your head against a fucking wall until the wall falls.
Right, for sure.
And it go, well, how many people don't make it? I go, they walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Rodney Dangerfield was like 63.
Right,
they just fucking walked away.
It's a war of attrition.
It really
is.
It really is. And sometimes it won't work. Sometimes it won't work. But I've been lucky enough and worked hard enough. Again, I throw so much shit against the wall. Eventually something works.
There have been some people that have died, and his response to me was, hey, I just moved up one slot in Hollywood.
Right.
It is.
And then I do something like I did on the Phoenix thing, and then I've dropped down 2 points
you got
again.
It's Plinko. You got to stop.
I had that thought when, rash of comics were getting canceled and stuff. It was like, spots opening up. That's all right.
Yep.